Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala, everybody. So last session, we were talking about Adi Shankara. We started Adi Shankara. Now we'll continue with the same thing because Adi Shankara is not a small topic and I cannot cover it in one session, like I always said. And we spoke about one of his disciples, Mandana Mishra, how he won the debate. The debate went for so long, months. And how Adi Shankara picked his wife, Mandana Mishra's wife, as the judge. That always, it's so, it shows what Adi Shankara was and what he's trying to tell all of us, right? How he had no ego, was so humble, and he respected the knowledge that Bharati had, right? And of course, because of Adi Shankara's powers, he already knew who Bharati was. Bharati was the goddess Saraswati herself. So he obviously knew it beforehand. And Mandana Mishra is Lord Brahma. So he knew that beforehand. So he picked Bharati as the judge. Who better can be the judge, right? But that also shows us a lot to learn. It tells us a lot that how humble he was. After all, he's in a human form. And, he could always have those human feelings of envy, jealousy, ego. But he had none of them. And like we already spoke last session, he almost revived Hinduism, which was sinking. Hinduism would have sunk if not for Adi Shankara. So he had a big part to play in reviving our religion. Now he had so many debates with the Buddhist monks and Jain monks, so many people, religious leaders, and he won all the debates. He came out successfully, victorious all the time. He was confident, fearless, calm. He was never stressed, always composed and serene. So when you look at him, you feel very calm. When you look at that positive energy, you feel calm. So that's the kind of person he was. So when he was debating somebody, they would be calm. Looking at him, they would feel calm themselves. So that's the kind of person, opponent that he was, though he was on a debate. He was a beautiful avataram of Lord Shiva, setting an example of how to lead an ascetic life. Now, he did not go and sit in solitude the whole time in penance. He was out there talking and spreading his philosophies, Advaita Vedanta, everywhere, wherever he could. He covered all the area in our country. Every part he covered. And he wanted to spread the sweetness of our Vedas and Upanishads. He knew the sweetness and he wanted to spread it to every single person. Now his 4 disciples, we spoke about them, Mandana Mishra and Hastamalaka and Totakacharya and Padma. All of them. Now we already got to know about Mandana Mishra, who joined sannyasam because he lost the debate. He became a sannyasi and he was put in charge of the Sringeri Mutt, which Adi Shankara started, correct? One of the mutts. Now, the next person we will get to know about is Hastamalaka. Now, Hastamalaka is from a village named Sri Bali, and he was the son of a learned Brahmin. Prabhakara was his name. His father's name is Prabhakara. He was very rich, and the only son. He had an only son. Now this son, he wouldn't talk. He was mute. So no one knows if he can talk because he has never spoken a word since he was born. Everybody thought he was dumb. He was a fool. They ridiculed him because he never went to school. He never learned anything. No Vedas, nothing. So he never went and learned anything either. He never spoke. He had no friends. So he never went and played outside. He was not a normal child. So everyone thought they would ridicule him and they thought he was stupid, he was fool. But he was a very good looking lad. This boy was so good looking. He looked like a prince. But then only when they got to know that he was not talking, then they realized, oh my God, what a pity. Such a good looking lad, but, totally empty kind of thing. So when he was 13 years old, Adi Shankara happened to pass by that village. So his father, Prabhakara, came to know that this saint is passing by this village. So he took advantage. He took that opportunity to go and meet Adi Shankara, and he took his son with him so that they can get his blessings. Now they went and met Adi Shankara. Adi Shankara saw this boy. Immediately he knew he's not an ordinary child. Immediately he knew. And he approached the boy and he asks him. Now that he asks in pure Sanskrit. I'm going to read out the Sanskrit verse. Kastvam siso kasya kuto siganta kim namate tvam kuta agatosi ye tanmayoktam padachar bhagatvam mat pritaye priti vivartanosi. What does that mean? Oh child, who are you? Where are you going? What is your name? Where do you come from? I feel so happy to see you. It's a delight to see you. My heart is so happy to see you. And I'm eager to know the answer to all my questions. This is what he says in pure Sanskrit to the child. Now the child replies. All this question he asked, the child replies. The child replied in 12 verses. I'm going to give you only one verse. Naham manushya nacha deva yakshau na brahmana kshatriya vaishya shudra na brahmachari na grihi banasto bhikshur na chaham nijabodha rupa. What the child says is, the lad is saying, I'm neither a human being, nor a deva, nor yaksha. I am neither a Brahmin, nor Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. I am neither unmarried, nor a householder, nor one living in the forest, nor am I a beggar, but I am the form of true knowledge. He answers in pure Sanskrit. Think about it. This lad has not opened his mouth. He has not spoken a word. According to the whole village, he is illiterate. He's dumb. He's a fool. It seems like he was just waiting for Adi Shankara, correct? All this while. And he came and asked him that question, who are you? He didn't stop. This is 12 verses and it's called the Hastamalaka Stotra. 12 verses of explaining who he is. There's just one verse I showed you. I chanted. But it's 12. Just for that one question that Adi Shankara asked. Now, do you think Adi Shankara doesn't know who he is? Of course, he knows who he is. But he wanted the whole village to know who he is. He wanted his parents to know who he is. He wanted all the people who mocked him, who thought he was a fool, to know who he is. Exactly why he asked that question in front of everybody and made that lad say it. It's like a beautiful ocean, non-stop. Everybody was shocked. Everybody was shocked. Eyes wide open, mouth open. It's like, is it? What is happening? He's talking in pure Sanskrit. He didn't even go to school. And all that he uttered was something that a realized soul would say. That first para itself says it all, right? After he stopped, Adi Shankara smiles. He looks at his father, Prabhakara, and he says, your dumb son apparently knows who he is. Wow. He knows the true self. He's completely detached from all the worldly desires. He doesn't belong here. I'm going to name him Hastamalaka, he says. What does that mean? Hasta is hand. Malaka is the amla, gooseberry. So if I put a gooseberry in my palm of my hand, that's how beautifully he explained about the true self, about the I in capital I, not the I that we humans use. This is the self with the capital S, the realized self, the one that is not attached to anything, detached to everything, even to the body, the mind, everything. That is exactly what he said. And he gave it in such a beautiful, just like a gooseberry in the palm. That's why his name, Adi Shankara named him Hastamalaka. So he says, he's not meant for this world. So I'm taking him with me. Adi Shankara says, what a blessing, huh? What a blessing. I'm taking him with me as my disciple, he says. So Prabhakara is so happy. He falls at his feet and he says, thank you. Thank you. I have no words, he says. He had tears rolling down his cheek. All these years, the villagers ridiculed his son. And now, this great sage, the great saint comes in and takes his son as his disciple. And now he knows his son is no ordinary child. Now the Acharya sets off, taking Hastamalaka with him, and all the other disciples follow. They're traveling, As we know, Adi Shankara never sits in one place. He's traveling all the time, on foot. So everywhere they'll stop, and then he lectures, he educates them, he teaches them various things. But at all those times, he always speaks very high of Hastamalaka. He always says, oh, this boy knows everything, kind of thing. So the students were always wondering, how come he knows everything when he has not attended school? That is, Gurukulam. When he has not learned anything from a proper guru. There's no evidence of him talking at all. They always wondered, how can he know everything? How can a mute person be a learned person? He has not proved anything yet, is their point. He has not proved anything. So they're all very curious, and they pose this question. Why do you always put, Swami, why do you always put Hastamalaka on an elevated platform? Every time. What has he done? So Acharya, Adi Shankara, smiles and he says, he understands the question, it's normal. He says, let me tell you a small story. Sit down. Let me tell you a small story, he says. Now, story goes like this. There was this big rishi. He was sitting and doing his morning rituals on the banks of the Jamuna River. Just then, a group of Brahmin girls, they come to dip in the river, take a bath. One of the girls had a child, a 1-year-old. So she saw this rishi over there in the banks, and she thought, okay, I'll ask him to help me to just keep an eye on the baby while I go take a dip and come. So she approaches the rishi and she says, can you please take care of my baby while I go take a bath and come? He says, sure. She goes to take a bath. Meanwhile, rishi somehow gets into this trance, and he's in a penance-like state. And he didn't even know that this child has gone to the river and he's drowned. Now the mother is back. She couldn't find the child. They search and they see that it's fallen in the river, and they go and get it. And of course, it's dead. She's wailing and crying, and the rishi is helpless. He knows he has done a blunder. He feels terrible. So he immediately gives up his body and enters the child's body. And the child wakes up. That child is Hastamalaka, is what Adi Shankara says. Now everybody's convinced. Like, oh my God, a rishi. Now it makes sense. So Adi Shankara says, what's the point in talking? The knowledge that he has, who is he going to talk to? Who's going to listen to him? Will they understand if he opens his mouth? That's why he was mute for all this while. Everybody's like, yeah, correct, understood. They found the appropriate time was when the Lord himself came in front of him, right? Adi Shankara, Lord Shiva. Now, he made Hastamalaka in charge of the Dwaraka Mat. So that's going on to the next disciple, who is Padma Padam. Oh, I love this disciple. I really, he's so close to my heart. His actual name was Sanandana. That's his actual name. Let's see how he got the Padma Pada name. Okay. He's mastered all the Vedas as a boy. And he had no interest in worldly life. And he was from the land of the Cholas. And he grew up in the banks of the Kaveri. This is where he's from. And he always wanted a guru. In search of a guru, he went on a pilgrimage. And he somehow reached Kashi. That is when Acharya was in Kashi at that time. So he met Acharya and he immediately fell at his feet. Acharya was very impressed with his dedication, with his commitment, with the amount of surrender that he showed. Acharya was very, very impressed and immediately took him as his disciple. Now, Acharya spent a lot of time in Kashi, writing a lot of work, composing a lot of songs. And one of the songs he composed there was Bhaja Govindam. You all know that. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Beautiful song. Just says, chant Govinda, Govinda. You fool, is what it says. Chant Govinda. That is the name that will take you to his feet. Now back to Sanandana. He was a very surrendered soul. He was surrendered to his guru. Now he accepted somebody as how many of us are like that? Accept somebody as your guru. How many of us surrender? No, it's not. It doesn't come easy. Oh, I have a lot of devotion. But people don't understand what surrender is, right? Surrender is deeper. Surrender has nothing to do with devotion. Devotion is you believe God is there. You go pray. You go to the temple. You do your rituals. Devotion can be any of that. Surrender is a higher level. Is a higher level where you don't ask any questions. You take life as it comes. Everything is given by him. Everybody is sent by him. Everybody is taken by him. Everything starts and ends with him. Him, her. For me, it's her, but just saying. That is surrender. That doesn't come easy. We suddenly forget that we should not ask questions. Questions arise. When things don't go our way, questions arise, especially when you want something, it could be anything. You may think it's good for you. It's always like that, right? We think something is good for us and we feel that we want it, but we never get it. And then we go to the temple and do whatever puja to get that particular thing. That's not surrender. You do puja, but not to get something, right? Now back to Sanandana. He was very quick at grasping everything. So whatever the Acharya Adi Shankara taught, he would grasp it like 3 times faster than everybody else. Adi Shankara was very pleased with Sanandana. So he always appreciated his efforts and he said it out loud. Like everybody could hear it. He was very loud. He was very, all his efforts, he said it out loud and appreciated him loud. So everybody was a little envious, a little jealous of Sanandana. And that's also common, isn't it, among us humans, when somebody is getting praised, especially when it's this kind of a picture where a guru is praising the shishya, one particular shishya, the others disciples definitely get a little jealous. It's very common. It's very normal. But that is where the test is, even Amma used to do that, right? Amma will praise one person. Many times she does that. And why does she do that? Why did Adi Shankara do that? Maybe that person deserved the praises, but why do they do that? To teach us a lesson that we have to look beyond that praise. We should look at the positives. Maybe, why is he getting praised? He has something that I need to learn. He has something that it's better than me. I have to learn from him. I have to take that positive, right? That is what we are learning. To take the positives and let go of that negative envy and jealousy and feel good for that person. We have to be happy for that person who got praised. He got praised because he deserved it, right? So we feel happy. That's the first thing. These are lessons. That's why they praise them purposely in front of us so that we learn those lessons. Amma did that a lot. Now here, of course, all the disciples got jealous of Sanandana, poor Sanandana, usually when the person is surrendered, poor soul has no idea what's going on around. A surrendered soul never know what goes around because all that he knows is his guru and he's doing everything for him. Now Adi Shankara knows everybody is jealous. So he wants to show the others why Sanandana is greater or why he deserved all those praises. That's what a guru does, right? Guru shows off his disciple, his good disciple. One day when Sanandana was on the other side of the bank of the river Ganga, and these people were on the other side. Sanandana was on the other side. So Adi Shankara from this side. Sanandana was washing clothes on the other side of the bank. Adi Shankara calls out, Sanandana. Hearing his guru call, usually, you walk across all around to get to this side. Or you find a boatman or somebody to bring you to this side. But Sanandana, what did he do? He started running across, like as if there was no river there. Think about it. Just picture that. As soon as he heard the name, his guru calling out to him, he started running across. But to the surprise of others, to the shock of others, while he was doing that, because he did that with bhakti and surrender, Goddess Ganga, Ganga Devi, notice that this devotee could drown. She put lotus. She laid lotus. As he put his feet on the water, a lotus came to hold his feet so that he doesn't sink. So she laid lotus. As the feet was going there, the lotus just came as if it was like laid out for him. As he was putting his feet on the water, lotus appeared. And he had no clue. He was running on that water, like as if he was running on land. And Ganga Devi put those lotus for him. And this, everybody on the other side of the bank who were standing with Adi Shankara noticed. And they were awestruck. They were awed. They were just gaping. They had no words. That was a sight. That is what you get when you have pure bhakti, right? Now he reached, without his knowledge, he reached the other side. Immediately prostrated in front of his guru, Acharya, who had a big smile on his face. Adi Shankara, so proud of his devotee, was proud of his disciple, his student. And he slowly put his hand on his shoulders and embraced him. He took him and he embraced him. And he said, from now on, you are Padma Pada. He named him Padma Pada. Do you know why? He says. Now, Padma Pada had no clue. Sanandana had no clue. Why is he calling me Padma Pada, right? He says, look. He says, look back. Look over there. You just walk through that river. And Ganga Devi has laid all the lotuses for you. Look at that, he says. Padmapada was very shocked. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that he actually walked over the river. He couldn't believe that Ganga Devi laid lotuses for him. He was shocked himself. It's like, really? And he had tears. rolling down his cheek. From today, you're called Padmapada, he says. So proud. Now, everyone knew. Everyone were quiet. Those of them who were jealous, who were envious of Padmapada, now are quiet. Now know, okay, he's on a different level. Because that is what he wanted, right? Adi Shankara wanted to make them realize why he kept praising Padmapada. Now there's one more incident connected to Padmapada. Now he traveled everywhere with Acharya, spreading the Advaita Vedantam. And they come to Sri Shailam. Sri Shailam. Now he saw the lingam under the Maruda tree and became ecstatic. Adi Shankara. He saw the lingam and he was so happy. His happiness flowed as a beautiful shlogam. It's a Shiva Nanda Lahari. That also has 100, just like Saundarya Lahari. So 100 verses. Now, near this place, there is a forest, and not many visited the forest. In those days, we're talking about, And Acharya used to go there to do his penance very often, for many days. And here in this forest, there was a particular group of people who worshipped Lord Bhairava. And they were called Kapalikas. They used to worship Lord Bhairava, and they lived in the burial grounds, and they sacrificed human and animals for the Lord. Now, they were not aware of Advaita. Vedanta is what? Preaches love and affection, non-violence. So they were not aware of all this. They're only used to killing, sacrificing. This is their life. Now, he was under the Kapalika chief, right? The group, they had a chief. He wanted to reach the Lord's feet. He wanted to go to Mount Kailash. That is where a Shiva Bhakta will want to go, right? I want to go there. He wanted to go there. But he was in the misconception that if he can go there only if he sacrificed a saint's body or a king's body. Only if he killed a saint or a king, he could go to Mount Kailash. This was his thought. Now, since then, he's been looking for a saint or a king. But will any king say okay to this? No. Or will any sage say okay to this? No. So he didn't find anybody who were agreeing to it, agreeing to be the bali, agreeing to be the sacrifice. Now he saw Acharya sitting and, doing his penance. And there's this aura around him. This beautiful aura, like it's dazzling. It's so much light around him. It's like, okay, he's not an ordinary saint. He's something powerful. So he approaches him, waits for him to finish his penance and open his eyes. And so he's waiting there. Acharya opens his eyes. sees this man standing. Says, "What can I do for you, my friend?" He asks. Kapalika chief says, he explains, I want to go to Mount Kailash, and I got to know that if I sacrifice a very great saint or a great king, I will be able to do that. I will be able to go to Mount Kailash. So Adi Shankara says, okay, what do you want me to do? He says. And he says, no, you don't have to do anything. Just if you will permit, if I can sacrifice you. If I sacrifice you, I can reach Lord Shiva. So funny, right? He's telling Lord Shiva himself that I'll sacrifice you and I'll reach Lord Shiva. I found it very funny. So he says, I've heard from a lot of people that you're very selfless. You're very giving. And you're very kind. The Kapalika chief is telling Acharya, Adi Shankara. And Adi Shankara says, okay, so what? You want my body? Then he says, yes. If my body will be of use to you, you might as well take it, he says. As it is of no use to me. I'll be more than happy to give it to you for your benefit, he says. I'm very happy that my body is of use to somebody. So yeah, you can take it. He's so happy. He's like, oh my God, I am so close to reaching Kailash now. So they set up a date. And Adi Shankara says, I will be here at that time, on that day. You can come and chop off my head. I will be in penance, he says. I will be in penance, deep meditation. You can just come and cut my head off. Don't worry. But just make sure none of my disciples are around when you do this. So the Kapalika says, okay, I'll make sure. I'll make sure nobody is there. And then Adi Shankara says, especially Padma. He says, especially Padma, make sure he's not around. Kapalika says, okay. Now, as per the thing, the date is set. Adi Shankara is there waiting. He's in penance. And Kapalika, the chief, is right there. He's with a sword. He's come on time. And he approaches Adi Shankara as he's meditating. He's in deep penance. And he raises this sword to chop his head. Suddenly he hears this loud screech, like a roar, like as if a lion is, angry. And when he's pouncing on his prey, like that roar, which obviously Adi Shankara also hears and opens his eyes to see what happened. When he opens his eyes, he sees Lord Narasimha. Lord Narasimha, he has torn open Kapalika chief. The chief Kapalika is gone. After all, who is he trying to kill? Who is he trying to kill? Lord Shiva himself. And Lord Vishnu is not going to sit there and watch this, right? Lord Vishnu is not going to sit there and watch this. Came in that most fearful form and tore him. Adi Shankara that was a darshan of the Lord in that form for him. Not always everybody gets to see that form. Lord Narasimha. Acharya prostrated in front of the Lord, the beautiful Lord Narasimha. And the noise was so loud that all his disciples ran to that spot. They also wanted to see what's happening, what happened, why is this so much commotion, so much noise? What was that wild animal? Something, so loud. So they all ran there because they know the Acharya is there alone doing penance. So they all ran there to see this sight. Lord Narasimha standing there and the Kapalika is dead. Acharya, of course, prostrated. Everybody got to see Lord Narasimha. And all of a sudden, Lord Narasimha was gone and Padma was there lying unconscious. He was unconscious. So Lord Narasimha took Padmapada's body and came to help Adi Shankara, to save Adi Shankara. So immediately Adi Shankara understood what had happened. And he asks Padmapada, because Padmapada was not aware of anything. He just got out of his unconscious state. And Adi Shankara asked him, were you a bhakta of Lord Narasimha? And Padmapada says, yes, I was a bhakta of Lord Narasimha. When I was, the whole of my childhood, I was a big bhakta of Lord Narasimha, he says. Acharya smiles. Tell us what happened, he says. So Padmapada says, yes, my guru gave me this Narasimha Stotram, Jabam. And he said, if you chant this, you'll get whatever you want. So I said, I want to see Lord Narasimha. So the guru says, yeah, you chant this sincerely. If you chant this, he will come. Lord Narasimha will come. So since then, I sincerely started chanting the japa. Then I wanted to sincerely do it in the forest. So I went to the forest in the jungle and I sat under the tree and I did the japa, he says, Padmapada. And then a hunter came. He's telling the story, right? So while he was sitting under the tree and doing the jabam, a hunter comes there. And he says, young lad, this is not a place for you. What are you doing in the jungle? Go back home, he says. So Sanandana was his name, right? Sanandana says, I'm here doing a jabam. I'm here to find one animal, he says. So the hunter is not letting him go. He says, what animal? There is no animal that I don't know in this forest. Tell me. I will tell you where you can find it, he says. So Sanandana says, no, this animal you can't find so easily. He's kind of a very peculiar animal, he says. No, you tell me. The hunter's not letting him go. No, you tell me. He says, no, this animal has a lion face and a human body. No, there is no such animal. Forget it. You're not going to find him, he says. Then Sanandana says, you know what? You have not seen him because he doesn't come for any ordinary hunters like that. He doesn't show up for ordinary hunters like that. So you have to really do penance to get to see him. So you just go off and leave me alone while I do my penance. Don't disturb me, he says. So the hunter is not letting him go. He says, so you're telling me that this peculiar animal is in this forest. And now if after you do this jabam, he's going to come in front of you, right? So he says, yes. Okay, so if he's in this forest, then I can also get to see him. I will find him, he said. You've explained to me that he has a lion face and human body. I will look for that thing. You said, you mocked me that he won't come in front of me, right? I will prove to you. It's a challenge. I will find him and bring him to you by tomorrow. End of tomorrow. Before nightfall. Tomorrow. That's how long he takes. Time. He says, by end of tomorrow, I will bring him to you and lay him down at your feet, he says. If I don't do that, I'm going to kill myself. The hunter challenged. Took it so seriously. Now Sanandana did not care. He said, okay, fine, go. Because he just wanted him to go, you know. So fine, go. Now, the hunter's taken it very seriously. It's like his life or death for him. And he has this picture of this Lord Narasimha in his head. The whole time he's been thinking, he's thinking of this picture in his head. Lion face, human body. And he's looking everywhere. There's no place he left. No food, no water, no rest. The whole of that day, the whole night, the next day. And then, of course, the nightfall is near. And then he knows, okay, I'm nearing nightfall and I haven't found him. So as per my challenge, I lost it. And now I have to take my life. So now he's preparing the rope and everything to hang himself. And suddenly he hears this sound in the bushes. And he sees this beautiful image. This lion face and the human body. Oh my God, where were you all this time? He says, hunter. He has no idea that that is Lord Narasimha, right? It's like talking to him like some ordinary animal. It's like, where were you hiding all this time? You came at the right time. Otherwise, I would have hanged myself, you know. Now come, I have to tie you up. And he ties him up. Think about this. This is the Lord Narasimha we're talking about. He allowed this hunter. He allowed him to tie him up. He tied him up like this. Happily went to the hunter. And he went in front of Sanandana and he says, there you go. He kind of dragged him and says, there you go. Look, I brought him for you. Sanandana opens his eyes. Why you've come back to disturb me again? No, he's right here. Look, I got him for you. Lion face, human body. And Sanandana couldn't see anything. The beauty is the hunter could see Lord Narasimha, but Sanandana couldn't see anything. There was nobody there. And Sanandana says, you're kidding. I don't see anybody. Don't joke with me. That's when the Lord speaks. He says, Sanandana, it is me. I am here. Yes, I gave myself to the hunter. Yes, he has tied me up because I allowed him to. And do you know why? Because he was very sincere. The whole time he had my picture in his mind. How so beautiful is that? He didn't even know it is the Lord. But the Lord came. That's when the hunter also knew. Oh, so he's not able to see him, but I could see him. See, that's what you get. True bhakti is simple. Focus, right? That focus, that determination. Though he had the jabam and the hunter did not have the jabam, right? That's the sincerity. And the Lord said, don't worry, you couldn't see me now. Later on, I'll come. I will save a great soul. I will be in your body. And I will give darshan to all the people through you, he says. Sanandana is very shocked. And that's exactly what happened then. He saved the great soul. And who's that great soul? Adi Shankara. And he gave darshan to all of his disciples through Sanandana. That's amazing. Sanandana is a true devotee of Lord Narasimha. All those japa didn't go to waste, right? Whatever it is. Jai Nandalala, Madhyodi Charan.